First update coming in, Iran's defense minister has retaliated to US President Donald Trump. Iran has said in a counter statement, "We will respond powerfully to any kind of attack against us and will not allow anyone to threaten us. All US bases in the region and countries that facilitate Washington's actions will be legitimate targets for us. Thanks to the measures we have taken, our defense situation is in good condition compared to the last war." Remember, US President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions in the country, saying he has cancelled all meetings with Iranian officials. And my colleague Aditya Rajkol, who knows a thing or two about Iran and US situation, is joining me. Aditya, tell us, what is the future course of action between Iran and US?
Well, Aditi, it's a very strong statement coming in both by Donald Trump and now by the Iranian defense minister countering Trump. Trump, of course, had supported the Iranian protesters against the regime, saying that take over the institutions, help is on its way. And in fact, he's cancelling all kind of diplomatic meetings that were scheduled with the Iranian officials. Remember, the Iranian foreign minister had in fact voluntarily said that he was ready for any kind of negotiation on the nuclear, assessment and apprehensions that the US has had over the last few years. Apart from that, now the Iranian defense minister countering Trump very strongly and saying that Iran was on a strong wicket. The defenses are very strong. Says that Iran will respond powerfully to any kind of a military strike or threat from Washington. And apart from that, also saying that any kind of US base in the region on any of the countries around Iran would be legitimate target. Remember, in the past as well, during the 12-day war, when the US bombers, B-2 bombers had attacked Iran and nuclear installations, there was a response that came in from the Iranian side as well. And one of the missiles or one of the rockets had fell in Qatar. That led to a diplomatic slugfest that was controlled through dialogue and diplomacy. But now a slugfest continues between Washington and Iran, and Israel is watching very closely things that are developing, even as the massive protests continue, and many people unfortunately have also lost their lives. The protests continue, but whether there will be a regime change or whether there will be a military conflict, perhaps on the next few hours or days, will tell us.
Absolutely. And for the benefit of our viewers, Aditya, do explain what led to this kind of allegation and counter-allegation.
Well, for the last 25 days, there have been massive protests, unprecedented protests that have been underway, in which thousands of common civilian Iranians have come out on the streets against the regime. They've been chanting slogans, death to the Ayatollah, death to the regime, and of course, at the same time, in support of Reza Pahlavi, but also mainly for the support for restoration of democracy. Now, there have been several statements that have come in from Israel as well as from Washington, D.C., directly from President Trump. This time around, President Trump has said that he supports the Iranian protesters and in fact help is on its way. Even as we speak right now, Aditi, on this live broadcast on NDTV, there's a high-level security cabinet meeting led by Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, on this situation. Because remember, Israel and Iran have been in direct and indirect confrontation for the last many years, the latest of which was the 12-day war last year, in which a lot of damage and destruction and deaths had happened. But will this kind of a response from Trump again lead to a military conflict? Only time will tell. But if there is indeed a military strike against Iran, we cannot take Iranians lightly, because there's a huge IRGC army, there's a huge Basij force that Iran has developed over the years, and Iran is certainly going to give a very strong response in this case as well, that could again lead to a deadly conflict in the Middle East.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aditya, for this update.